So what do you need to know if you're charged with a domestic violence harassment or domestic violence harassing communications charge in Alabama? Well, the first thing you need to know is that Alabama is saying that you've committed either the crime of harassment or harassing communications, but that you have a special relationship with the victim, and that is that you have some sort of a domestic relationship. And a domestic relationship typically involves some sort of either former or past dating or marital relationship, but it can also involve a parental or romantic relationship or some other kind of family or familial relationship. You can find more specifics on our website, but it is what you would commonly think of as some sort of family relationship. Domestic violence harassment, there's really three different ways that this, or three different variants of this crime, and we're going to talk about that. If you are accused of physical, what I call domestic violence, physical harassment, it basically means that you're accused of having struck, shoved, kicked, or in some way unlawfully having touched another person, somebody with whom you have a domestic relationship, in a manner that was meant to harass, annoy, or alarm them. So, remember when you were in the back seat with your brother or sister and they said, "Don't touch me," and you kept poking them? That was harassment. And that, in fact, that probably would be domestic violence harassment because you're doing it to annoy them. So that's domestic violence harassment. It didn't have to hurt them. In fact, if you had hurt them, if you left a bruise, that would be an assault. Domestic violence harassment is when you're intentionally touching somebody with the intent to harass, annoy, or alarm them. And so that's physical harassment. Now, if you are directing abusive or obscene language towards the other person, that is verbal harassment. Same kind of thing, it's a type of harassment. So if I'm in Walmart with my wife and she's in the 10 items or less lane and she has 15 things, and I look at her and because I'm annoyed, I go, or I make her some sort of gesture that's deemed obscene under Alabama law. So if I say or gesture in some obscene way, I've committed the crime of domestic violence harassment. Now, in all honesty, we very rarely see any kind of verbal or obscene gesture harassment, and that's because we do have a right of free speech. So it's very seldom that we see cases where there's even an allegation of it crossing the line. You do see them occasionally, but they're pretty rare. You may be charged with it, but like I said. Now, the third kind is domestic violence harassing communications. Now, these usually, as they say, involve some sort of a communication. And you would think, well, the First Amendment, yes, but less so. We see these usually with cell phones and other kinds of communications. It might be the guy and the girl, they break up, and somebody puts a spam bot and it says, "Why won't you talk to me? Why won't you talk to me?" And there's 10 million messages. Or somebody is sending really creepy messages, or whatever, harassing communication. There's a dead rabbit left in the mailbox, things like that. We do have a right of free speech, but there are times where our communications can cross the line. The classic example is, you go into a movie theater and you yell fire and there's no fire, you're going to get arrested. If you're on an airplane and you jump up as a joke and yell, "I got a bomb," guess what? You're going to jail. People aren't going to think that's funny. That's not free speech. That's a terrorist threat. So you can't say certain things. They can be considered harassing communications. And when those communications are made to somebody with whom you either have or have had a domestic relationship, you can be arrested. Now, whether you're charged with regular physical harassment, all of these, I'm talking about domestic violence cases, but if you're charged with domestic violence, physical harassment, or verbal harassment, or harassing communications, even if you've committed the crime, that doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to be found guilty. In fact, sometimes when a person is guilty, it's sometimes actually easier to resolve because the issues are clear. But at any rate, it is not uncommon for somebody who has committed these offenses to be able to resolve their case without a conviction and even without a criminal record. Now, you'll have to talk to us for us to explain how that's possible and whether it is possible in your case. Every case is different, so the fact that you're watching this video doesn't mean that that's going to happen in your case, but you want to talk to a lawyer, hopefully us, but you want to talk to a lawyer to see if that's a possibility in your case. If you want our help, of course, give us a call. The phone number should be down below here somewhere. And if you want to contact us through our website, somewhere on here and on this video, there should be a link to our website. I hope you found this video to be helpful and informative. Again, there should be more information about all of this on our website. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this.